Hi, everyone. It's Gretchen. I hope everybody's ready to make some Easter cards. It seems like we've been waiting forever for this class since I had made the sample so early, since I had to make sure that we could get all the supplies in time. So you're going to need your inks and your blenders. And I know the kit only came with 2 of these. I have several sets. So go ahead and put these foam pads on the 2 of them, and to do the 3 colors you'll just have to switch one out here and there. Just hanging on for a few minutes to give everybody a chance to get on and get ready. Hope everybody had a good day. I just gotta, this should be in my kit. We're gonna do, if you want to get ready, we're gonna do this card first with the butterflies. So when you open your envelope, it's the one that has the orange cardstock. And make sure you have some scrap paper under your work surface, both for the inking and for the glue. The other thing you can use for the inking, if you have one, is, I'm just looking to see if I actually put gems in my kit, which I didn't. If you have a non-stick craft mat like this one, this is a small one. We sell a larger, close to my heart version. You, instead of scrap paper, you can use this, and then any ink you get on it just wipes right off. And I'm going to show you at the end. I didn't make a card. Oh, good, Deborah and Brian, welcome. At the end, I'm going to show you a technique using this kind of mat. I am just going to grab another package of gems. Sorry, I walked away, so I don't know how well you can hear me. Okay, I was just grabbing another package of gems, so I have enough to complete the cards. Okay, so Deborah, I don't know if you heard me. We're going to do this card first with the butterflies. So if you open up your envelope and take out the one with the orange card in it. And we don't need all of the black pieces or the gems yet. We just need the cardstock. And I think what we'll do is we'll do all the inking first for all 3 cards. And then after they're all inked, then we'll do the assembly. And that gives them each a little bit of drying time before we assemble them. So the first thing you'll notice is the cardstock I gave you is bigger than the piece that is on the card. That lets you not worry about your edges quite so much. And so we'll trim them down. And also once we trim them down, we'll have a couple of small strips that can be used on the insides of the cards. So let me get this in a spot where you can see it. Okay. So we're using Distress Oxide inks. There are Distress Oxides, and then there are also just distressed inks, which were the ones that were created first. But the oxide inks are more of a pigment ink, which means they are creamier and they have a longer dry time, which allows us to blend. And when you blend with these, you can create different colors by overlapping them. And because of them being a thicker ink, you can actually put lighter color inks on top of darker color inks to give it a different color and to to bring that lighter back in. If something got too dark, you can make it lighter by using the lighter color on top of the darker. A dye ink won't let you do that. You can't. It will always get darker as you add more ink on top of it. So I gave everybody some extra pieces of cardstock so you can create more than one, just to give you a little bit of practice. And for some reason, I don't know why, I've never made one of these I haven't liked, but in case you don't like one, you want to try again, you've got another piece. So you really only need the one piece, but you also do need a small piece of scrap paper. And you can I'm just digging in my scrap bin here. So I've got a small piece. You can rip off a piece off of the bigger piece. Actually, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rip up this in half. And you'll see as we get more ink on the paper, we're going to want to hold down with this scrap paper so we don't get our fingers in the ink. So usually how I start is I start with the lightest color and then move through to the darkest color. But then I will go back and forth because, like I said, you could actually put lighter colors on top of the darker colors, but it's a good way to start. So I'm going to start with the yellow, which is mustard seed. And to ink these up, you just pounce your foam pad into the ink. Now, the more you do this, the more ink is going to get on your pad, and you can use these over and over and over until they start to disintegrate. And let me show you, like this old one, see how it's starting to kind of fall apart. So that's on its last legs, but they will last a good long time. And I usually I stick to either one color or one color family. So maybe I have I use this just for mustard seed, but if I had another yellow that's close, I might use it for both. Depends on what I'm doing. So the pad will absorb more ink the more you do this. So I've used these before. So my pads already have ink in them. So when I go and I put them down on the paper, I'm going to get a pretty vibrant color to start with. Yours might not be quite as vibrant if it's brand new. So just keep adding more ink to it. Now, if you make a lot of these backgrounds, you will use up a lot of ink. So they do sell re-inkers. So if you like this technique and you want to do it more and you're using up your ink a lot, make sure you invest in some re-inkers. So now you can see what I'm doing for this this look is I just kind of create circles. And I'm going to do 3 colors on this background. So I'm just going to space them out a bit. And I'm just kind of going with the same kind of spacing look I did on the sample card. But you can put your circles as close or as far apart as you want. And remember, you know, these two we're going to do a little more blending. However, you can blend with these two. You'll see where, you know, where the blue and the yellow cross over, you're getting some green. And where the pink and the blue cross over, you're getting some purple. So if you do go over, you will create those colors. So it depends. If you want to make bigger circles and then overlap them and get the blends, go for it. So basically you just keep adding ink to your sponge, and you just keep rotating in circles on your background paper until you get the intensity of the color you want. Now, like I said, I go over each area several times. So, you know, as we do the next color, you know, you may want to go back and add more. So if it's not quite as dark on the first run, that's okay. You can almost do no wrong with this technique, because if you don't like how the color's coming, you layer more on top of it and create a different color. The other thing is, you'll notice I changed my grip. When I first started, how was I holding it? I don't know. But if you hold it like this, take a firm grip in your fist, make a fist and hold it, you'll get a little more power, and it won't hurt your hand as much, and you'll be able to press down a little more. Now I just made this area, it's not a circle anymore, more of an oval, and I just made it bigger. So next I'm going to go with the pink, and the pink is Picked Raspberry. So I chose these three colors because these are the basic colors, yellow, magenta, cyan in printing. So as you can see, we use, you know, on these other cards, I only used three colors of inks, but I got the whole spectrum of the rainbow. So that's why I picked these, because I didn't want you guys to have to buy a ton of different inks. But I thought these were pretty flexible in the colors you can get. And of course they were perfect. The pastels were perfect for Easter. So this pink here, and I think I'm already getting to the point where I want to get a reinker to reink this pad, but I'm just going to keep adding more. So I'm overlapping the two yellows here. So you'll notice, maybe you'll notice, depends on how good in the camera and the light is, but those areas of overlap are getting orange. They're looking orange. Okay, so now I'm getting enough ink on here. I just want to be careful. When I hold it down with my scrap paper so I don't get my fingers in the ink, because the ink will stay wet for a while, and I don't want to transfer that to a different area. And I'll probably keep repeating some of these things, so hopefully they will stick in your head by the end of the night. I just thought of something and then it went right out again. I like really bold colors, so I'm going to put a lot of ink down. But if you like it paler, that's perfectly fine. The other thing, we are going to use more stripes in the other two cards, so I wanted to show you, different ways you can do it. But if you don't, if you do this first one and you don't like the kind of bubbles, the circle-y look, and you'd rather make it striped, you can do that as well. You can do, here I went all the way across the card, but you can do shorter areas too. I hope you're going to really like this and want to play around some more. The thing you really need when you do this technique is a smooth cardstock. You don't want any roughness to it because it's going to blend and the ink will move smoothly across the surface of a smooth cardstock. So the Close to My Heart cardstock is is very smooth and good for this. But I also will tell you the Michaels white cardstock is also very smooth and very good for this technique. So that's what I'm going to go with for the pink for now. Now, if you only have the two sponge dauber holders, you will at this point want to change to put a different, take one of them off to put the blue one, put another one on for the blue. And that's what I was going to tell you before. As you overlap color, your sponge is going to pick up some of that color. I don't know if you can see, but see around the edges, it looks a little green, yellowy green, because it picked up some of those yellows on the last one I made. But you can, if it picks up too much color, like say your yellow one, you can actually see some blue in there. I don't know if you can see that, but if it starts to pick up too much color, you can just rub it off on your scrap paper. And then, just add some more ink to it, because the intensity of the ink straight from the ink pad is going to let you get that color back and not have that not transfer the color back down. So you can see where I went over the pink there, it's getting a little darker, a little purpley. Now, if I go back over with the pink, that'll get more intense. And then see over the yellow area here, it's getting green. If you have stamps and you like to stamp, you can stamp with these ink pads. They're not just for the blending. However, they are a pigment ink, which means they will, just like when you're doing this technique, they will take a while to dry. So just make sure you realize that. Now I'm going to turn mine around. You don't have to. I just find it easier to reach this corner. And I am just adding circles into the blank spaces. And I think you can see here how green this is looking. And this is looking purple. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to use pink again over the same spot where I used the pink. But I just want to make sure that overlap area, that blended area is, it really looks purpley. And over here, it's going to look orange with the yellow. Now I don't know which pad you took off to put on the blue pad. So you may want to go through and do all of the same color before you switch again. If you really like this technique, you might want to invest in a couple of these and a couple more of these and have all different colors. You could go really crazy. And there's like 60 colors of Distress Oxide. I don't have them all. I don't think anybody needs to have them all. I mean, they're all beautiful. When you look at them, you think, oh, yes, I want them all. But I had this little area of white over here, so I'm just making sure I go over that. So that gets a lot of pigment. And then I'm just gonna go over the yellow areas again to get that blend. I mean, the color is quite intense, so I really don't need to. Whoops. That's the thing, you want to get a good grip on it. So there you go. Now, if you like one color better than another, you can add more in. So on this one, let me show you. On this one, opposed to the sample, so this one we just did, I did a lot of overlap areas. So there, it's kind of like a Venn diagram where you've got the pink and then you've got the purple and then the pink and the blue and then you've got the purple where they overlap. So you've got these fun ovals of shaded areas. This one, I didn't overlap as much. I did on this right here, but up here, I didn't overlap or I didn't keep going over it with more color. So it's not quite as, you don't have those in-between shades like you do there. So, and you can do this over and over again and no two will be alike. I'm going to go ahead and do, let me just cover that up there. I'm going to go ahead and do another one. Not that you need to do another one, but in case you're still working on your first one or you want to try a second one, I'm just going to go ahead and do another one to give you some time to work, and you can watch me again. And maybe this time I'll try not to overlap as much and just show you the difference. And I'm actually, like, I put this down, the color's not as intense. I'm going to leave it like that for now. And I may change my mind because I tend to be a very bold, intense color person. But I'm going to keep it light for now and then see how it looks. So, but I'm putting the colors in the same basic area I did before. And I know that because I can see on my scrap paper. But, you know, just to be able to compare. So those are much paler yellow bubbles. And I'm going to put one right here too, which is a little different than I did the first time around. Now I'm going to go and do the pink. And again, I'm going to keep the color softer just to see what it looks like and how I like it. So it kind of looks like I've got a darker center with some kind of halo effect around it, which is kind of neat. And that's simply because as I go around, obviously more color gets put down in the center and less around the outer edges. Now, I only use the three colors because I didn't want you to have to buy a bunch of colors. I just wanted this as an introduction to see how you liked it. But of course, um, if you had more colors, you can add more in. I mean, if you really like that purple and the overlap isn't enough for you, um, then you can certainly add in as many colors as you like. And really, they're just so much fun. I really love them, and um, they look great just as a background. But once you start adding the pieces on top of it, they just really pop. And wanted to let you know that you can stamp over these backgrounds. However, they must dry completely before you stamp on them. And you can also emboss over them, but again, they absolutely have to dry completely because if they don't, the embossing powder will stick to them, and it'll be challenging to get it off. Um, so you can use a heat tool to dry them if you're impatient. I'd rather just wait, and you don't have to wait overnight, but I usually find it's easier that if I wait overnight and I let it dry. Um, I do a bunch of these and then do the next step the next day or a couple hours later, and just so you can be sure. So in a class that's a little challenging. I mean, you'd have to have the stamps and the ink and everything else to stamp over them. So that's why I cut out the cricket shapes. But on your own, you can have a lot of fun. And, like the black stands out. If you have darker colors, you could put white over them. That's really striking too. Okay, so I'm gonna leave these a little paler like that. It still has a lot of intense color, but it's definitely a paler look, and you may like that. And you still get that green shade and purple shading when you overlap. So you don't have to scrub the heck of it like I did on this one for the sample. You can keep it paler looking. Move the camera down so I have less um, desk, uh, less area of my desk where I can put things where you can see it today. I wanted to zoom in, but it's not always, doesn't always give you enough space. Okay. Is everybody okay on that? How you doing, Deborah and Brian? I know this is probably new for you, and I just threw a lot of information at you, so I want to make sure you're doing okay.